What's up YouTube? Nathan B Tech here. We're back here for another video. In today's video, it's kind of like a wild one out of the ballpark because today we are going to be comparing the Tab Active 5 versus the Tab Active 5 Pro. So yeah, I mean, firstly, the whole reason that I was looking at these guys is because I'm looking for a rugged tablet that has cellular connectivity that I'm going to be using for around the house, for my car, you know, outdoor usage, etc. So I had stumbled across the Tab Active 5 series just because it's one of the unlocked cellular models that you can get through like bestbuy.com. Now at the time of this recording, I can no longer find the Tab Active 5 standard on Best Buy anymore. I found this one on Amazon on a pretty good sale. So if you guys are interested, I recommend this one. If you're looking for a small tablet, this guy is sick. I love it. It has the built-in S Pen and it's a perfect size, honestly. You know, going into it, I thought this was probably going to be too small and also too slow, but to be real with you, I'm actually finding the Tab Active 5 a little bit more ideal for my use case scenario. Now, on the Tab Active 5 Pro, this guy is a behemoth, as it should be, right? You know, bear in mind, it does have double the battery life, right? So it has two cells in the back, and it's very beneficial because you can swap while still swap while it's still on. I forgot what they call it. I think it's called dual swap. You know what I mean. But also, this has the capability to where as long as you're on power, it can stay on at all times without any battery. And you know, I thought it was going to be a pretty cool feature. However, the problem for me is it's just too big of a tablet. Not only that, but this guy is a heavy tablet. Like holding it with one hand does put some strain on your hand. And I think for the reason, and you know, paired with the bezels, you know, like screen size could be much bigger on this guy. Not that the Tab Active 5 is any better. There's definitely room for improvement, and I get it. It's supposed to be like a rugged tablet, but I do think Samsung, you know, cut some corners a little too sharp here. You know, we could have stretched the screen out by an additional inch if we just shrunk them here and here. For the amount of money that these guys are charging for these tablets, they could have definitely done some extra screen. But yeah, I mean, I do appreciate the home buttons. You know, it's a little bit of a gimmick to me because I'm not using, you know, gloves or anything like that, but I do find it fun to kind of go back to the home buttons for the retro style. Now, in terms of performance, bear in mind these are both the 6 GB RAM configurations. On my tablets, I don't need 256 gigabytes worth of storage, so I typically don't mind that. However, I did run a Geekbench on these guys. And you know, on the Tab Active 5 Pro, it does have the faster processor. I believe it's the Snapdragon 7S Gen 3 versus this guy right here. Gotcha. So I had to do a quick Gemini search to remember what that processor is, but essentially it's the Exynos 1380 on the Tab Active 5, which is essentially the exact same processor that's in the Tab S9 FE. To be completely honest with you, on paper, this guy is faster. However, I don't notice it in day-to-day usage. You know, this is quick enough for what I'm doing. You know, I'm not doing any type of gaming on this. It's not what it's meant for. I'm using it for, you know, quick web applications, jumping on apps here and there, filling out notes, etc. And this does the job. Like I said, I don't notice this. It's such a minor difference in terms of speed. I really don't notice it, right? So that being said, I still think that this performs beautifully. Now, they're both running on Android 15. This one came out of the box with Android 14. This one's more on the recent side, came out the box with Android 15. So expect to get an additional year on the Tab Active 5 Pro. These guys are, if you don't have the Enterprise Edition, they get you 4 years of software updates and 5 years of security updates on both models. That being said, this one will get to what, Android 16, 17. This one will get to Android 18. So, you know, if you are looking for the bigger tablet for more battery life and additional software support, definitely get the Tab Active 5 Pro. However, if size is a big, you know, big ask for you, I think this is perfect. You know, this is like a Tab A9 Plus, but with more power. Built-in S Pen, 120 hertz. They're both 120 hertz. There's no difference in terms of the screen. They're pretty much the exact same. They both have 6 gigabytes of RAM. They both have 5G. They both have the S Pen. They both. It's really a minor upgrade. Now, the biggest thing with these guys is battery life. You know, this one being smaller, it can only fit a 50 or 5050 milliamp hour battery, versus this one can actually fit 2 cells, right? It does have the quick swap, where if you do need to swap out batteries, it has 2 batteries that you can take out from the back. And it's really clutch. I can show you an example real quick. Let me take this case off. Just to show you a quick example on what I mean, on the Tab Active 5 Pro, you do have quick swap functionality. You have 2 5050 milliamp hour batteries on this guy, meaning together this is a 10,100 milliamp hour battery. But you do have quick swap capabilities where you can take one out, this one will keep it alive, and then you can swap it in just to continuously get really good battery life. As well as you can actually take out both batteries and run this directly off of just a power source. That's one of the cool functionalities that I did look into this guy for, because I wanted to just run it off the car. That way there's not an active battery in the car during the summertime all the time. However, coming into it, you know, I don't think I need all of this. And bear in mind, the weight is definitely there, right? This guy is significantly heavier. Significantly heavier. I don't have a scale to measure it, but for reference, I think this is like 660 grams versus this is 400 something. And let me tell you, it doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're holding this in the palm of your hand all day, it's quite noticeable. Especially with that protective case that Samsung, you know, throws on there. Whoops, what did I do? Where were we at? I'll go back to that. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. No. Guys, I cannot make this up right now. It's locked out. I did not mean to do that. Let's see if I can fix that real quick. I put on the case backwards and now I'm stuck. But while that reboots, yeah, I mean, they're both IP68 water and dust resistant. If performance is what you're looking for, I don't think neither of these guys is going to be able to hold up. But if you're looking for something rugged, something that you're going to want to use, you know, outdoors, something that's going to be protective, these guys are really good options. Another reason that I'm making this video is when I was trying to do the research on these guys, I can't find a single video on this guy. And the biggest thing I was trying to look for was size comparison. So let me turn that off so I don't do the same thing. But in terms of size, I mean, this is what you're looking at. This is what the case is on. So let me see if I can squeeze that in the shot real quick for y'all. Boom, there you go. Better yet, I think a better example is if I put it right here. This is what you're working with. So you are getting about a solid 1.5 inches on width and a solid inch, or maybe a little under an inch on height. And the biggest thing that I kind of ran into is this one's more made for like portrait. As you can see, like the bezels are bigger on the top and bottom on this guy right here, versus on the Active 5 Pro. Jesus, I really broke this. Let's see if I can just turn it off. Versus on the Tab Active 5 Pro, the format, the bezels are bigger on the top and or on the sides, right? So it kind of wants you to hold it in a landscape format, and to be honest, I don't like holding it in a landscape format. Like I want to hold it portrait, and it's kind of forcing me to hold it in landscape. It's very heavy, you know. And that being said, I didn't think I was gonna do this, but I think I'm gonna return the Tab Active 5 Pro. I really like the performance on this guy. Like I said, I don't notice it side by side. Like this one doesn't seem faster to me on paper, or in real day-to-day usage, versus this one. It's just super heavy, and I'm willing to sacrifice the battery on that. battery life, because I'm next to a charging port at all times, and the biggest thing for me is just, you know, portability. And this is just the perfect size, and the fact that I'll have LTE and stuff incorporated in this guy, I think that's going to be perfect. So yeah, I mean, that's the video. I think I've made my decision, but let me know what you guys think. Let me know, you know, what scenarios you guys would use this guy for, or if you do decide the smaller form factor is more ideal for you. You know, nowadays it's harder to get a smaller tablet, and the fact that this guy is around and has LTE compatibility, and you know, you got the ruggedness of it and all that, I think it's really sick. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to smash the like button. Until then, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.